Hey folks, welcome to the 2023 Speed Chess Championship qualifier number 2. The tournament is about to get started here on chess.com. The first qualifier finished 2 days ago. We already had 2 qualifiers qualify into the next stage of this year's SCC. Those players were Yu Yang Yi from the winner's bracket and Vidit Gujrati from the loser's bracket. Hope you guys are doing great. We've got stacked tournament today as well. Hikaru's playing, Sarana, Lazovic, all the top juniors. We have Dayak in the field, Ronak Sadwani, Blue Bomb, just all the regulars of Title Tuesday, Andreikin, Bortnik. Benjamin Bach, shout out to the commentator from the first qualifier. He's playing this one as well. Tournament is about to get started. It's going to be grueling, folks. 14 rounds. 14 rounds of 3+1. They took Title Tuesday, which is already quite long, to be honest, 11 rounds, and they said, you know what? 3 more rounds. 3 more rounds. The top 8 in today's tournament are going to qualify for tomorrow, where they will then face off in a knockout bracket, and that will determine the actual qualifiers into the SCC. It's the biggest speed chess tournament of the year, folks. So very important qualifier today. There are some players already slated into the SCC, into the eventual championship. Magnus, Hikaru are confirmed playing. Gukesh is also qualified by virtue of winning the junior SCC. But for everyone else, nothing is guaranteed. You know, they might need to qualify, and this could be their last chance. So tournament is about to get underway, starting in 10 seconds. 178 players in the field. I believe this is open to all title players, so you don't have to be a super GM, you don't have to be a regular GM. You can be an IM, Candidate Master, and play this one. But yeah, as long as you're good at speed chess, then you're gonna have a chance. All right, I think the tournament is starting. We got some games underway. Ho ho ho! Look at this guy. Bro thinks he's Magnus. All right, let's watch the world #1 play. He's the #2 seed in the event. He just joined at the last second, folks. He was not there. He was literally waiting until the very last moment, but he is in the field. He's playing. He's the #2 seed. Hikaru, #1 seed, boasting a 3254 blitz rating. Folks, insane. Insane. All right, Magnus, round 1. He's going up against FIDE Master Hakan Azeri from Isle of Man. And looking like a solid position. Magnus just trying out a very flexible semi-Slav type of setup here, training the bishops. He's going to try to win this one. It's a 3+1 time control, folks. 14 rounds of action. And let's see if we can get some move sounds going. That would be great. We're going to see who wins this one. Lots of players in the field. And Magnus now breaking with e5. This is looking pretty solid for him here. He's going to try to keep up the pressure, keep playing fast, and see if he can score an eventual victory. Alrighty, and let's see who else we got in the tournament. Hikaru's playing. He's officially the #1 seed. Multiple time winner of the Speed Chess Championship. He's playing white here against International Master from Canada, Max Gedilovich. And all right, looking like an interesting position for Hikaru here. He just brought his knight back, but he's got knight f4, knight h5 in the position. I think he's definitely going to be looking to put the pressure on with this knight. Of course, you got to watch out. Knight f4 is going to be hanging this e5 pawn, but seems like a nice attacking position for Hikaru here. I'm sure he's going to be looking to open up black's king. Okay, king h1. Nice prophylactic move, king h7. And knight g1. Wow, here comes the maneuver. Where's this knight going? b5. Black breaking through on the queen side. a4. White goes knight e2. These guys are playing very, very fast. Hikaru, though, well ahead on the clock right now, as black is desperately trying to create some counterplay on the queen side. Looks like he's getting somewhere. He's got rook takes a4. Now he's taking another pawn, but Hikaru got his knight to f4. That's hitting e6, bishop f7. And now h4. Is white going to get enough with this attack? Rook b8. Now the rook switches over to c1. Maybe he can snag a pawn here with rook takes c5 and then follow it up with rook takes e7. No, he goes d4. Wow, allowing black to close the position with c4. He didn't want to take on c5, folks, because black could then take on e5 and cover the c7 square. So d4, c4, rook b1, queen d2. And now white is kind of putting pressure on from both sides here. Oh boy, c3 just played. Wait, what just happened? We had a knight sack. I totally missed it. Knight takes d5. If black takes, there's e6. Winning back the material immediately with a winning position. So c3, knight comes back to f4. c2, black's c-pawn is now getting very dangerous. Rook c1, rook takes b5, and queen f2 on the board. Hikaru trying to bail out into the endgame here. But if black trades, rook takes f2, and there won't be any way to defend the c-pawn. So black ditches the pawn, goes after e3. Looking to create enough counterplay with rook to e4, but rook c7, white's rooks are coming in, and watch out for some kind of d5, e6 break here. Okay, king to g8. This lets white give the check and bring the second rook in, which seems very unpleasant. Hikaru now using this critical moment to calculate some lines. Rook e7 is another opportunity. Wow, he goes h5, playing for mate. Whoa, okay, 2800 level play here, folks. Knight g6. He's now threatening one mate with rook check, rook h8. If bishop takes hg, that's the second mate coming on the back rank. Or in case of king fa with rook fa check. So black tries to defend, but that's not going to do it. Black is not just giving up the piece, but black is getting mated here. So that's going to be a GG. Fantastic meeting that there. Let's go back to Magnus. He's grinding this. He's got a pawn up in the rook endgame. Let's see how Magnus is doing. Let's see. He's got an extra pawn, a lead on the clock. But here the time advantage is not as big of a deal because of the 1 second increment. So white does have plenty of time to defend their position. But even with the 1 second increment, that is still very little time to play accurately. Now rook c3 with the skewer. Can take on h3 here, but if he does, then that would drop the c6 pawn. So Magnus doesn't want any of that counterplay. Rook c4 instead, trying to take this one with check. White should probably defend it. He goes rook h7, but now feels like black can mop everything up. Rook takes d4, rook takes f4. All right, takes on g4 first. Now the king can advance with king f5. Rook takes d4 check. He's going to get a second check as well to stabilize, and then he can push g3 or take this one, and this looks like Magnus is going to be collecting here. Worst case scenario, just take, and you got two connected pass pawns. So this is going to be a simple victory. Let's see what else we got still happening here in round one. How about Bortnik against Eltaj Safarli, strong grandmaster from Azerbaijan. Bortnik with the exchange sacrifice here, but I think white is the one that's playing for the win. Look at all these dark squares. Bishop d6, bishop h4 also in the position. Neither player having any time. 1 second for Safarli, who's just making moves on just the last seconds, and yeah, finally flags. I mean, such a tough position. Queen f4 check coming as well with queen f6. Probably just completely winning here for white. Bortnik picks up the first win as well. Let's watch Esipenko here, looking to convert this endgame. He's got two extra pawns. He's trying to get that Last pawn in black flags, and yeah, I think it was basically over, folks. Just 2 pawns up. White was about to take on knight e6 check. Everything is collapsing. Actually, that's it. Actually, game over. King c7, knight e6 immediately would have been resigns. Who else we got? We have Lazovic losing the first round. Lazovic was one of the qualifiers into the knockout portion of day 2 from the first qualifier. But here he drops the first game. He'll be trying to bounce back. Let's see, lots of games left in the field. Demchenko with the 2 bishops. Ooh, snags on g7. Is this a win? This is hard to say, but it's very unpleasant for black. Oh, that doesn't seem right. Offering all the piece trades. Oh, and that's it. He could have just traded, but getting the extra pieces is even better. Demchenko winning this one. Okay, all the games ending here. Let's see, we have Ariantari. And what's happening here? Okay, great. He made a draw, so I don't have to figure out who was playing black or white or who was going which way. The game was a draw. Let's go to the next game. It looks like an extra piece here for white. Oh, but black wins on time. Oh, I see what happened. They were repeating. White was looking for a way to get out of the repetition, but safely, because the H-pawn was running and he flagged. So that's it, folks. That's the end of round 1. Got Magnus in first place. All right, it's just round 1, guys. There's a lot of people tied. For first place here. I see Jordan Van Forest in the field. Lots of strong grandmasters. Gadakomsky, the legend. Yeah, so many incredible players. Okay, round 2 should be underway. And let's open up some games here. Okay, Magnus playing the King's Gambit. There we go. Takes, knight f3, takes. He is playing Grandmaster Alan Pichot. Very, very strong player. Oh, and they've got moves fast and loose here. Takes, bishop c4, castles, d4, and yeah, classic kind of King's Gambit structure here. Magnus developing very, very quickly. And it's kind of a funny structure because white hasn't really managed to win back this f4 pawn, but it is going to be a very easy target. You got knight e2 in the position. You have the open f file. And if white wins this pawn, then that's a pawn up for white. And black's queenside is kind of vulnerable here. So here Magnus, even though he played the King's Gambit, he's still Magnus, and he's still playing this like strategically. Either he's trying to like win a pawn and just convert the position. Knight f5 now, maybe go after the 2 bishops. But knight f5 is probably met with bishop g6 with the pin. And not such a comfortable move there. Okay, he plays it anyway. I think we're going to see bishop g6 and queen h3. See, that's the Magnus move that he spots. All right, now you either have to give up 1 bishop or your light squared bishop. And either way, this f4 pawn, again, is going to be a big target. So knight b6, hitting the bishop on c4. Let's see where he goes. I guess 2 options here mainly, bishop b3, bishop d3. Drops back to b3, keeping more pressure on f7. And how is black going to deal with Magnus hitting this bishop on d6? All right, knight d5. Just trying to hold on to this f4 pawn. Does white have enough here to take on d6, take on d5, take on f4? Feels like he could win a pawn, but at what cost? It could be at the cost of one of his own pawns, which would then just make it a trade. Then you wouldn't be winning a pawn, you would be trading pawns. So knight d5, Magnus tanking a bit here, trying to figure out exactly what's the best way to proceed here. You can also take on d5 first and force black to take with pawns, and then take on d6, and then take on f4. But let's see what he does. All right, he takes once. Now that there's the option of c4 as well, comes to mind. Magnus really burning a lot of time for a blitz game. Generally, you just want to make moves and just go. But here he spent 45 seconds and another 10 seconds, 55 seconds on these last 2 moves. just to trade and develop. So bishop d2. So that indicates he didn't find anything super concrete he was happy with. So he decides, all right, just going back to blitz mode, safe and easy moves, develop the pieces, maybe c3 somewhere, maybe c4. Just get everything out. Now Pichot is spending his time here. Lots of decisions. Do you try to keep the bishop? Do you give up the light square bishop? Seems like he's pretty content on not giving up this bishop here. Once you give up the light square bishop, you're going to have problems on f7 and the other light squares the rest of the game. So then white just plays c3 and starts harassing you with their light squared bishop. Very, very big thing. Magnus now ahead on the clock. So black really giving back the time advantage. He does drop back bishop f8, but now c4 comes quickly, and Magnus wants it all. It's all about this f4 pawn. And what can black do here to keep the material? I'm not seeing it. I don't think he's seeing it either. Knight e3 allows white to just take everything. So he takes on f5, queen takes, knight e3. Well, that's one way actually to keep the pawn somewhat temporarily, but now, c5. Oh, that's a disgusting move for Magnus. Just opening up the light squared bishop. Black has no way of using this outpost on d5, so it just doesn't matter. And okay, now Magnus is going to be building up on the light squares. We've got opposite color bishops here, so the point is that if he just keeps pressuring the light squares, it's going to be very hard for black's bishop here to be able to defend. So rook e7, Magnus now thinking. Rook f3 feels like the obvious move, just going after this pawn, but I guess he's a super GM, so he's probably trying to think a little bit deeper than one move. So black will go rook e8, most likely to support this one. Oh, g6, never mind. That's a surprise to me. Maybe to Magnus as well. He's thinking again and what to do, but that's a strong move because now black gets bishop h6 to actually hold on to this pawn. And white is still going to need to work here to actually make something happen. Bishop c4. Okay, Magnus now going for the light squared blockade. Maybe putting something on e2. But he doesn't want the rook on e2. He wants this rook to be able to swing to f1 eventually. But now f5. Black is playing this extremely ambitiously. He wants to push the pawn to f4 and just lock these down. Magnus, by the way, he played b4. So he's looking to open up the queen side and get his own passers going. And the difference here is that black doesn't have these blockaded. Oh, folks, this is going to get sharp. Bishop g7 hitting the pawn on d4. Ooh, Magnus needs to be very careful here. There's tactics brewing. 10 seconds for Magnus. How to defend. He can't hold on to the d4 pawn. He goes king g2. Allowing black to take on d4. And black must be doing great now. Magnus is going to have to scramble to save this. Because now this pawn is super strong. Rook d2 check. Rook e4 was an option. Okay, rook e2. Looking to just keep the blockade now. Well, let's see. Let's see if Pichot can keep his cool. It's not every day you get a comfortable position against Magnus and you feel like you have to try to win. Uh-oh, queen d8 check, bishop c4. Bishop c4, what a move. What a move. The rook on e7 is hanging. But black just takes and he runs with the king. But now Magnus has a lot of checks. Should at least have a draw. He plays for the win. The rook takes e3. What a find by Magnus. He keeps the extra exchange, and he's going to try to convert this one. What a turnaround. Now rook e6. Magnus goes in for the kill, and that's it, folks. Just like that. Ooh, he got him in the time scramble. What a turnaround. What a turnaround. Okay, let's see more games here. What's going on? Bogdan Dayak. Up 2 pawns, rook endgame. Should be able to grind this one out. I don't think black really has enough counterplay here. Who else we got? This is Jordan Van Forest against the legend, Grandmaster Alexei Dreyev. And looks like knight endgame. Black is very close to just liquidating everything off and forcing the draw. But d5 is going to come. That's going to be the last chance. But you can take on e3 with the king, and then you should have enough time to swing around. Make sure you stop the pawn and pick it up with your knight. So this one is going to be a draw. Let's see what else we got here. Looks like black won this one. Let's watch Bogdan Deyak. Wow, he's still trying to... those pawns haven't moved. He gave up a pawn, gave up the second pawn, but he got his rook behind the a pawn. Now rook a5. Is it enough to win, though? It's still very unpleasant for black because white is going to go after these pawns here. And I don't know. I think this is very close to winning. Oh, king g6. Oh, nice move. If takes, there was a7. Oh, this is beautiful. Yeah, it's got to be winning now. Got to be winning. Great technique by Deyak there. Let's see, a couple more games. No, last game. Last game of the round. Looks like we got two title players battling it out in this endgame. Should be an easy draw. It's really, really hard to lose this one when you got your king in front of the pawn. And I would honestly just keep the bishop as far away from black stuff as possible. Just so you don't hang it to the king, you don't hang it to the knight. Here you can take, this is good technique. Just go for the king and pawn endgame and hold this one here. All right, round 2 in the books. And let's see, we got a bunch of players still with 2 out of 2, including Vladimir Kramnik, the world champion in the field as well. Amazing, amazing. All right, round 3 should be starting here. And let's see, we have Hikaru playing against Rudik Makarian. Very strong online player. White won by resignation. Uh-oh. Okay, something happened there, not sure. All right, Magnus. Black here against Shant Sargsyan. Let's see, what was the opening here? C4, E5, G3, Knight F6, and early H6. Yeah, the resignation was surprising. I mean, it's yeah, very unexpected strategy, but we'll see if it works out for him. Okay, in the meantime, Magnus with the nice center at the cost of the 2 bishops. Queen b6. Seems like a reasonable position here for Carlsen. Rook e8. White does have the dark squared bishop. That is kind of uncontested. All right, queen c5. Offering the endgame to Magnus. That's very, very dangerous. He's also offering the b pawn, though that one looks very risky for black to take. I think the queen is just very likely getting trapped there. Bishop c3, and then the rooks can come in. So queen a6. Rook c2 actually was just even better. And let's see how Shant tries to play this one. It's a very tricky position because white has some strategic advantages, black has some strategic advantages, and Magnus now gives up the second bishop. Goes knight to d4, hitting the bishop on f3. I don't think white can allow this one, but what's his second idea? Wow, rook c8. Look at this. Look at this decision, folks. Just giving the 2 rooks for the queen, but believing in the counterplay that he can create with his 2 knights. And now knight c6. White's rook is a little funny here, right? b5 is coming, and this rook is kind of running out of squares. Folks, where is this rook going to go after b5? Yeah, white is pausing here because it's this is kind of an uh-oh moment. Bit of a cold shower here. Okay, rook c7. He's hitting f7. King g6, not king g8. That would allow rook c8 check. So king g6. He covers f7. And now queen b6 is possible. b5 first, followed by queen b6. This rook is looking very yummy for for black's army here. Yeah, trapped behind enemy lines, huh? And how do you get it out? This knight is defending d5. This knight is defending e5. It's the perfect defense. You just can't break through. You just can't. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. All right, so e3. He's offering the d pawn as a hope, but there's b5 in the position. You can start with queen b6. Queen b6, rook c8. How do we exactly trap this rook? Knight e7. Do you just bring the king in? Okay, he goes d4. Very interesting. Well, this feels like it opens up lines for white. Maybe Magnus isn't playing to trap the rook. Maybe he just wants to start gobbling pawns on the queen side. So bishop d2. Yeah, now, I mean, if you take these pawns, I mean, a pawn is just going to win the game for black. Black's king, though, I feel like is not that safe on g6. Given enough time, white can create counterplay, h4, g4, and so on. So this really is going to be kind of a race situation. But yeah, Magnus generating tons of counterplay here with the knight and the queen. Okay, bishop f1 played. Takes on a2. Now the a pawn is ready to run. Rook c7. Knight d5 hitting the rook. That allows white to take one pawn. But now knight takes f4. Black can take and open up white's king as well. Magnus does so. Queen d2 now is possible. Win some more material. But this is tough because if you don't win with your a pawn, then you have to win on the king side. Ooh, f5. White desperately trying to trade off the weakness, but king f6. Magnus won't be allowing it. Bishop g2. Knight f4. The knight is coming in. But rook e7. White does have some potential here. The problem is if you take on f7, black's queen is eyeing, so black will just happily go into that endgame with the extra a pawn. So white can't take right away, but it is a target, so it hurts. It hurts for black to lose this one. So queen takes f2, check, and now maybe just comes back. He also has knight e5 in the position. Oh, that's a nice defense by Magnus. Using the knight, keeping the knight near the king, which is now going to just kind of swim around on the dark squares here. And yeah, I think it should be enough for Carlsen to convert this one. Just too many pawns in the position. The knight is strong. The king can also be introduced into the attack as well. And yeah, 4 pawns now for black. 4 pawns. You can still lose this. You can still lose this. In fact, white is going to maybe take on f6. Rook f1. I think maybe Magnus might have underestimated this move a touch, because now white is taking on f5, on f6, and then rook f5 is going to be a pretty serious check. Wow, Magnus allows it. He just goes d2, just completely ignoring. He's going to hide with the king on g3 and say white has no checks from there because of the knight on e5. Okay, oh, but king h2. King h2, hold on. Oh, knight g4 check. And can black queen now? Is there a mate? Is there a mate? Magnus says no. There's no mate. 3 seconds here for white. But the bishop is pinned. And the rooks, yeah, just have no coordination. So now black should win this. It's 2 queens versus 2 rooks. And yeah, no time there. Okay, let's jump to another game. We got Shevchenko here. Trying to convert. Oh, queen takes g6. Nice. And now he can take on g2, and white's a pawn is running the rule of the square. The rule of the square. Black's king is just not in time. And that's it. Beautiful. Very nice. All right, who else we got? Blue Bomb here playing black. It's very strong candidate master. Stolen monster. And Black has the extra pawn, but this should liquidate to a draw as both sides give up their rooks for the pass pawn. Let's go to another game here. Another rook endgame. I think this one ended. White resigned because black is just going to advance and eventually win with the Lucina technique. Folks, if you don't know what the Lucina technique is, I would strongly suggest to look it up. Chess.com has some fantastic resources. You can YouTube it. Definitely learn how to win that position. Okay. Jeffrey Zhang going down here. Looks like he resigned in this position as black was about to win the second pawn. Let's see. All the games here ending. Ooh, Eduardo Torrezaga. He's in trouble. He's down a pawn. Oh, but knight f5. Oh, he takes. He's up the exchange now. I think black should still have enough to hold, but yeah, now this g-pawn is just too strong. Nothing you can do with this g-pawn on the board. So black just needs to keep the cool. Just try to forget that you hung the exchange to that knight again. It's always those knights, you know? It's always the knights. But yeah, this is the problem. It's like you can't even take the bishop because the pawn promotes. But he did manage to take this pawn, which I don't think was in the cards. But even here, black has enough to draw. Bishop g4, by the way, was already enough. I think that would have been a draw. Takes, b7. Both sides promote. But this one should be good too. Just take king f2. And yeah, this one is going to end in a draw. Torrezaga testing the technique, and that's it. Okay, round 3. Done. Magnus, 3 out of 3. Hikaru, 3 out of 3. Kramnik, Shevchenko. Oh, lots of players still. Zhigalko. Lots of players still, 3 out of 3. But now we're going to get some really, really high-level matchups. Round 4. Oh, folks. We got the battle of the world champions. Dream matchup, Carlsen-Kramnik. Let's go. Classic Queen's Gambit declined position. The opening of the world champions. But this is a little trendy here. Bishop f4 and now c5. c5 very early from Kramnik here. Very, very early. But the guy is an absolute legend. He still absolutely knows his stuff. And yeah, we've got a very interesting position here. It's like a double exchange variation. Symmetrical structure. So whether Magnus can get an edge here is going to be basically coming down to one tempo. And he might get a little something, he might not. Kramnik might be able to just equalize, and then Magnus will have to move to plan B and turn the squeeze on. Bishop takes c6, interesting decision. Okay, Magnus playing this super strategically. He's playing against black's light-scored bishop here. Now he wants knight a4, knight c5 at some point. Just leaving black with the bad bishop against white's good knight. Rook c1. Honestly, very simple the way Magnus is playing this. Maybe f3 somewhere. Yeah, kind of has a small edge, I would say. But I'm sure things are gonna heat up quickly. So b3 now on the board, and at some point black is going to have to figure out what to do with this pawn. I think the plan is to just defend it stubbornly with the bishop, because if you go c5 and you let white take, well, now c5 is a lot more tempting now that white played f3, but yeah, and there we see it. But as soon as black plays this move, the problem is black is going to be left with what we call in the business an isolated queen pawn. And this pawn is easy to attack and awkward to defend because it has to be defended by pieces. Knight a4, knight c5. Magnus hops in. Now it takes ab3. White has a very, very comfortable structure here where he can put pressure on a7. The knight on c5 defends b3 very beautifully. And yeah, so a5. I like this move from Kramnik a lot. Not taking and giving white this free pressure. So he says, if you're going to take on c4, then I'll go dc, open up my bishop, get counterplay against the d pawn. Oh, but queen takes a5. Magnus takes his pawn. gives up b3 and rook to b1. Very interesting. So if Magnus can take this one, that's going to be an extra pawn. But in the meantime, maybe black can generate some counterplay on the e-file. Critical moment here for Kramnik. He has to make sure he gets enough for this pawn. But what can he do? Knight h5, knight f4 maybe? Definitely not so obvious. Okay, b2. Sorry, that was kind of an obvious move. But queen d2. Queen d2. Now the pawn is hanging once again. But queen b6. Can Magnus round this one up? How is he going to approach this? Knight d3 comes to mind. But then that allows the bishop to jump out. And yeah, maybe white ends up with an extra pawn here. But imagine, folks, you get some extra pawn in some rook endgame. Black has active rooks. You have this weak pawn on a3. The rook comes into a4. It's a very difficult endgame to actually convert. So it's not just about getting the extra pawn, but making sure that it's a very healthy extra pawn. So knight d3. Magnus, he's pulling out all the stops. I would expect bishop a6, but then rook takes b2. Hits the queen. So what do you do from there? Kramnik, a minute down on the clock. Bishop f5, also a move to throw in. Is there anything? Maybe queen a6, targeting the a pawn. Is this possible? Okay, rook a. Okay, different way. And now what's going to happen on rook takes b2? Maybe queen d6, just going after this pawn full steam. Yeah, my feeling is that black should be able to equalize here, at least on the board, but this time advantage is definitely sewn into the position. Magnus is a full minute ahead on the clock, and I don't think he's going to be giving that up so easily. Okay, queen a6 with a double attack against two pieces. Rook b3 covers everything, but makes white's position feel very loose. So he goes knight c5. He's offering the pawn back. He's going to try to look for some pressure in this position. King f2, allowing his rook to untangle itself. Now the knight on e2 is unpinned. You can start improving this one. Of course, objectively should be a draw, folks. Should be a draw. And there's still the 1 second increment, so it's not exactly an easy flagging situation, as you might see in no increment chess. The 1 second increment, that's usually enough time to defend a pretty solid position. It's not enough time to defend if the position is difficult. If it requires very precise moves, then many players will just immediately go wrong. Or even some theoretical endgames like rook and bishop versus rook. Those are very, very tricky with 1 or 2 second or even 30-second increment. You'll see players messing those up all the time. So yeah, this is not going to be an easy hold for Kramnik here with a minute down against Magnus, who's just one of the, easily one of the best bullet players in the world. And white does have a legit reason to play here. He's got the two knights. It's a closed position. Black is a weakness. Black is a worse. Bishop on b5. I'm sure if Kramnik was white, he would feel like he had the right to play for the win here. And okay, some pawns get traded off. This makes things easier for black. If you can just keep trading things. And ooh, king h3 gives up the pawn, but knight takes. But now rook takes d4. Rook g1 check. Magnus might be winning a piece here, but at the cost of his last pawn. But rook g4, no, black trades off the rooks, and okay, this is now completely drawn. It wouldn't be a draw if black did not have this bishop, of course, but now everything is coming off. And take the knight, take the knight. What happened? Why didn't he take the knight? Oh no. And Magnus must be thinking now, like, unbelievable. Oh no. Well, no, there's no draw, of course. There's a pawn on the board. I mean, if you give white an extra move, that's a winning endgame, folks, right? With two knights against the pawn, right? So there's no draw until black, either takes the knight, you know, or sometimes if you don't have the pawn, that can be a draw. You just take the knight and then that's it. Yeah, the draw is made there. Oh, that's a shame. That's unfortunate. I don't think Magnus was trying to win at this point. I think he was just acquiescing to the draw, but that's what happens sometimes. Okay. Rasmus Svani against Alexander Lennerman. Svani trying to convert with the 2 pawns. And does black have enough here with the g-pawn? E6. In a king and pawn endgame, white would be completely winning because the g-pawn can be stopped. The white's e-pawns in the long run won't be. Ooh, now the pawn's got to d6, e7. And black can't give up the bishop and make a draw. Very tricky for black. I don't see a move. White's just going to take the pawn and win the game. Bishop f4, but now d7. That's it. The pawns are going through. Very nicely done by Svani there. Let's see. We have draw in this game. Looks like some kind of repetition. Gianmarco with the rook endgame against Tabatabai, trying to convert this one. This actually feels like a draw because black has the king on the short side, rook on the long side. This is kind of an advanced rook endgame. I would say this is pretty advanced, but we see the technique here actually. That's it. You could even take the pawn, but the checks also are another way to make the draw. And that's the end of round 4. We have 4 players tied for the lead. Magnus Carlsen, Kirill Shevchenko, Hikaru Nakamura, and Alexander Shirmanov. All grandmasters, all 4 out of 4. A bunch of players on 3.5, bunch of players with 3. There's going to be a 6-minute break here at the end of this round, which is starting right now. I think the break is already underway. This is going to be a couple minutes, folks. I'm going to take a break as well, collect myself after those very stressful time scrambles, and we will be back. You're watching the second qualifier 2023 Speed Chess Championship, brought to you by chess.com and Coinbase. Folks, I will see you right after the break. Alrighty, folks, we are back. We are so back with the 2023 Speed Chess Championship. This is the second qualifier sponsored by Coinbase. Now, the way this works today, for anyone that missed the format, is the top 8 finishers in today's qualifier will play in a knockout event tomorrow. And then the top 2 from that event will get seeded into the eventual 2023 SCC. Round 5 is just about to get started of 14 rounds. Looks like we got games loading up here. And let's take a look. 4 players, the perfect score. Got Hikaru against Kirill Shevchenko and Magnus Carlsen against Shamanov. Let's see the opening here. D4, C5, inviting the Smith-Morra, which white accepts. C takes D4. Queen takes D4. Okay, not exactly Smith-Morra. Knight of 6, Knight C3, D6, Knight F3, A6, and we get some kind of funny Sicilian here. Queen C7, Knight takes D7, and now Bishop takes D7. So Magnus playing the Sicilian, looking for a win in this game. He's offering white the option to take on F6 here, which to me looks very, very risky for both sides. Black will play Rook G8, Bishop G7, and open up the bishop on those dark squares, Rook to C8, and get a lot of counterplay against the C-pawn. But Shamanov picks up the gauntlet, Rook G8. Magnus says, all right, let's see what you got. Bishop G7 is coming. Knight E4, so now Bishop G7. Knight D6 check can be met with Queen takes D6. But instead he goes Bishop E7. Queen back to D4. And we'll see if Magnus can get enough here for the pawn. He does have the 2 bishops. Very wild position, I would say. I mean, king is going to be sitting on E8 here. Rook to C8. Will be tough for both sides. I mean, how does white defend the king exactly? If you go Bishop D3, we're always dropping the G2 pawn. But Queen D4, indicating he wants to play Knight D6 check. He does. And now I would expect king to B8, but the knight takes F7. What are you going to do about this pawn? So maybe trade once and play Bishop C6. Definitely some compensation there for black, but it is a pawn for white, and that's going to be an endgame. Magnus thinking he doesn't want to go king b8 without having a response ready for knight takes f7. He can't just give a pawn like that and expect to get away with it, and he does. And now does Shamanov take, and he's not going to take without at least first thinking, all right, what's Magnus going to do in response to knight takes f7, rook f8. And then it feels very, very flimsy for white. How can white hold everything together there? I'm not sure. Knight will drop back to e5. So knight takes f7. Very interesting game. Hold on, rook f8. There's also queen takes d7. So what does Magnus have in mind here? Because I don't think he wants to just give up this bishop on f7. On d7, I mean. What's the move, Magnus? Maybe some bishop move? Bishop a4? Something like this? No, I think that just hangs stuff. Bishop c6, perhaps? Knight takes d8. Rook takes d8. Looking for some tactics on the d file. Magnus taking his time. Yeah, he knows this is absolutely critical moment here. One mistake and that could be game over. So what to do? Eval Bar seems to think black is fine here. Obviously, Magnus doesn't know that. He goes rook c8. Oh, that looks strong. Hitting the c2 pawn and threatening mate, so not giving white a chance to take on d7. Queen to e5. Now bishop f6. Oh, what a move. See, white was pinning the queen. He goes bishop f6. Okay, honestly, like, disgusting move. Just absolutely sickening. Because you can't take, because then queen takes c2. But trade. Now the bishop on f6 is quite good. Knight d6, bishop c6, f3, rook to d7. Magnus playing against this knight. He's down on the clock. And Shamanov is no chump. He's a very, very good blitz player. But he has some dynamic issues to figure out with this knight, because rook d8 is kind of a threat. If you move the bishop, you're losing the g pawn. So what to do here? The knight can maybe drop back, knight c4, before black has a chance to double on d file. No, goes bishop c4, giving up the g2 pawn. A bishop g5 check from Magnus. King b1, and now rook to d8. Oh, he pushed the king away from the rook, and now how does white save the material? White's just losing the knight. Oh, he blundered bishop g5 check. I did too. Magnus, of course, did not. And oof, that's it. That's it. I just don't see a move for white. Takes on e6, but this is an extra bishop for black. So okay, 3 pawns for white. So this is actually not easy at all, I would say, but black is certainly in control. It doesn't feel like white's 3 pawns are going to be a match here for the bishops. Now I think Magnus wants to maybe put the bishop on this diagonal and start trying to create some weaknesses. So king c1, 20 seconds for both sides. The technique here I think still is not simple at all. King d2, rook back to e7, b pawn is hanging. White's going to have to do something about this one. Back to c1. White trying to make as few weaknesses as possible, but this is going to be tough. We got rook g7 in the position. Now h4, allowing white to trade off a pawn. But if white takes here, then the other pawns are going to be easy pickings. Easy pickings. And black is going to win with the queenside pawn. So I think it's going to take a lot of moves, but I think Magnus is going to be able to convert this one. In the meantime, looks like Hikaru actually lost to Shevchenko. So Shevchenko, we'll see that game a little later on perfect 5 out of 5. We'll play the winner of this game. And ooh, look at Magnus's bishops. Yeah, they're just taking over. Now bishop c3, that's the puzzle rush winner. Extra rook now for Magnus should be enough to finish it off. Magnus is not known for not winning upper rook, and just has to pick up all these pawns one by one. Shamanov just looking for any last chance, any final hope. But no, that's going to do it. So yeah, Hikaru ended up going down. Looks like black was kind of taking over with the big pawn mass here, and the c pawn ended up winning the game. So Shevchenko winning a huge one there. Let's see who else we got. Okay, this game is done. Lazovic with the extra exchange. He's winning. He has to convert this. Takes some precision here for white, but the problem for black is that you're never going to win the f pawn. And yeah, you can even take, this is what's known as the 5th rank rule. If you win the pawn and your pawn's already on the 5th rank, it doesn't matter if the opponent has the opposition, because you're still winning with the tempo. Sorry, I pushed f7 there. That would have been a stalemate, but of course this is very simple. So great technique there from Lazovic. So we got more games here. Ooh, now this is an advanced one. This is interesting, folks. This is interesting because at first glance, it looks like black is an extra bishop and an extra pawn. But the tricky thing here is, whoa. All right, nice. In addition to the stalemate opportunities, if you trade rooks here, then we're actually left with a theoretical draw, because black's h-pawn is going to be the wrong color rook pawn. However, with rooks on the board, the endgame is winning with proper technique. This is actually a very nice setup that black found in the end, putting the rook on the 1st rank, bishop here. Next, you could advance the pawn and start driving the king away. So this one should be a win, and we are already into round 6, folks. Just like that, the 2 players on a perfect score. Carlsen against Shevchenko. Carlsen looks like he stepped away from his board for a sec, but these are the final 2 players on 5 out of 5. And, oh, b4. Little wing gambit action from Magnus. Look at that. Spicy. Spicy. Well, it's still blitz, folks, so you can afford to play these kinds of openings. And d6. Shevchenko, he just wants none of it. He's just like, Magnus, just don't. I don't want your pawn. I don't want your pawn, okay? Let's just play a normal structure, please. Equal pawns. And Magnus is like, no. No, we're going to play a freaky position, Kirill. That's what we're going to do next. Okay, buddy? That's what we're doing. We're not playing a normal game. But this is risky. What Magnus is doing here, this is frisky. This is risky. He's bringing his queen out too early. I feel like Magnus left and like got some food, and one of his like mates like jumped on his computer like and started playing for it. All right, bishop d3. Now the pieces are coming out. Let's see. We have a lot of matchups here, but oh man, this game is already fascinating. We got Georg Meyer playing Sarana, just going around the horn a bit. Hikaru, he lost his last game, so he's going to be trying to bounce back. And he's going to need to defeat Sargsyan here with the black pieces. Then we have Andreykin against Rasmus Svane. And these two are definitely hoping to qualify for the next stage here. They're on 4.5 out of 5, so a win is definitely going to be important for them here. And another big matchup. By the way, we got Bortnik against Pranav. This is an interesting game as well. Maybe we'll keep an eye on this one. These guys on 4.5 points also. Okay, back to Magnus. Look at this position they got. What a weird one. H5 played, H4. I mean, these positions, you know, they really test both players' creativity. So these games are honestly actually quite fun to watch. So G6, Queen E3. Magnus looking for some endgame. Bishop H6. Kirill says only on my terms. And takes, F3, bishop takes D2. Whoa, Magnus going for the complications here. And who's winning material? The bishop on C3 is hanging. Oh, rook on C8 is pinned. Ooh, that move looks like a killer, folks. I think Magnus is going to be taking this one with the tactics. Knight to G4, but yeah, this is just going to be an extra piece for white. And Magnus, he just won the last game with the two bishops, one of them being extra. I think he's going to be able to put this one away as well. Some people are just too good. Bishop B4, not giving black an inch on the C file, but how to proceed. General strategy is you try to trade off all the pieces. Trade the rooks, try to trade off black's knight, get the king in. The more reduced the material it is, the easier for white's bishops to kind of have their say. So rook to d8, bishop e2. Oh, what a nice move. Putting pressure here, looking to just exchange the horse. Also looking to take and just win the pawn outright. So yeah, very, very tough position here for black. Pretty much just losing. And against Magnus, I'm sure it's hard to keep fighting. You know, it's like, is he really gonna spoil this? You know, it's Magnus. But king d7, you have to keep fighting. You have to take your chances. Rook to d1. Magnus keeps the rook on the d file. And now I would definitely think about just taking here, just to simplify things, get the king in. But that does improve black's structure. And then black gets hg and f5. So you don't want to just give black this huge mass of pawns if you don't have to. So I feel like that's why Magnus is hesitating, because he has other moves here as well. Bishop c4. Okay, knight e3, rook c1. Oh, he played rook c1. Wow, I was going to do the arrow, but he played it. Amazing. And now bishop c4. Oh, and the bishop has invaded into black's territory here. Ooh, this is looking very rough now. If this bishop starts taking pawns, This is going to be a big problem. I think I would take on h5 here. And take out the protection of the knight. Magnus takes on e4 and then goes back to g6, going back for the h-pawn. Bishop d2 now, looking to put pressure. Bishop to g5, rook to f1. I think it's just a matter of time. Rook g8. Rook g8, e4, still pushing. Bishop c3, d4. Oh, but that rook is hanging on g8. And this is not going to be enough for black. Bishop to b3 now. King f2. It's an extra rook. Magnus, again, very experienced with winning with the rook. And that's going to do it on this game. Ooh, we got lots of games heating up. Wow. Wow. Serrana, Meyer, these guys have way too many pieces and not enough seconds on their clock. Holy moly. Look at this. It's like they just started. It's just like they played the middle game and then they decided to run their clock down. Oh man, what is happening here? Well, black is winning on the queen side. Evalbar loves black here, but the position, of course, is so sharp and with seconds on the board because white is going to start pushing on the king side, e4, f4, and things are just going to explode. But it does look pretty nice for black, I have to say. I mean, bishop on g7 is a powerful piece. Yep, that's how the arrow goes. And now just a very natural, very logical exchange sacrifice from Georg Meyer here. He also just wins the material back immediately. Yeah, he's completely taking over here. Black's queen side is just so massive and way too strong. But they've got seconds. They've got seconds. Queen f3. Serrana made that move 0.1 seconds on his clock. Oh my god. So fast. Takes. But the moves are happening. Black is just snagging pawns left and right. White is hoping for one thread. Oh, that e-pawn. That e-pawn is just brutal. And hold on. There's still Serrana. You know, he's turned it on. He's taking f7 now. And black's b-pawn still very strong. And Meyer flags. What a turnaround. He thought he was losing. Evalbar says black is winning. What's the win? My guess is maybe queen e1, maybe queen e1. Let me check real quick. Queen e1 would win. I guess you can also promote, but it's really hard to. You promote, but the rook is then hit, and white doesn't have a checkmate. Yeah. Oh, that's rough. And he had 3 seconds. You know, that's how it goes. Brutal. Okay, lots more games left. We have Zahartsev against Pepe Cuenca. Shout out to Pepe, but oh man, this bishop is going to have a hard time dealing with all of white's pawns and white's queen as well. Pretty good piece. Yeah, he's playing for the stalemate, but I don't think he is going to get it. Oh, and he makes the queen. Great technique there. Solid stuff. All right, another endgame. And this one is tricky because white's king is cut off, but white is just kind of inching forward. And what can black do here? What can black do? Not much. And we're seeing a lot of people playing stuff out. I don't really have an issue with that. You know, folks, it's the Speed Chess Championship, all right? It's the qualifier. It's a very important event. You know, you gotta just play things out and just take whatever tiny chance you might get. You know, they're not expecting anything, but you never know. Okay, lots of games ending here. Oh, here's a classic. What? No, did that just happen? Rook a8. Oh man. But I think it was an accident. I don't think he was trying to pull a fast one. I think he is just an accident. But dang. Unfortunate. Unlucky. I mean, there's no other word for it. Unlucky. All right, folks, round 7 underway. Look at this matchup. We got Carlsen, Bortnik. The world's best player against one of the world's absolute best bullet and blitz specialists. Hikaru is playing Rasmus Svani. We have Kramnik against Serrana. So Kramnik, he's back into the mix. He's on board 3 here. Looking at the standings, Magnus is the only one perfect 6 out of 6. Bortnik, clear second with 5.5. And then a number of players with 5 out of 6, including Hikaru, Kramnik, lots and lots of Grandmasters. In fact, is there even... I see one FIDE Master, number 18 in the standings, 4.5 out of 6. All right, let's go. Shout out to all the FMs and IMs playing this event. I know you guys you're trying, and just keep it up, guys. Just keep it up. Just keep scoring those scalps. I'm with you. My heart beats for you. Okay, 95. Magnus looking to take some space. I think we're gonna maybe see a C4 type of Marazzi structure here. So let's call it a small advantage for white. Bishop takes d5. Bortnik decides to give up the light square bishop. This is a very typical, let's call it middle game operation, where you give up one of your bishops, in this case the light square bishop, and then you just play bishop and knight against 2 bishops. And your black's position is very, very solid, but white's got the 2 Bs, and especially the light squared bishop, the unopposed bishop. This is going to be the problem piece. Yeah, I can't keep making this arrow enough. Bishop f1, bishop. I'm such a fish, I'm just like, ooh, I see a way to win material. All right, bishop. All right, well, queen f5. He already defends it. Bishop f1 didn't even happen. He's already defended against the third. But queen b1, Magnus offering an endgame. Magnus has already won 2 games in this tournament where he had 2 bishops, with one of them being extra. We'll see if he can win without the extra piece. In classical chess, actually, he's very well known for being super skilled with carrying the bishop pair. So he will certainly feel comfortable here, but it's a pretty solid situation for black. I think Bortnik is going to be able to hold this one. Let's check out another game. This game looks extremely interesting. We got Hikaru against Rasmus Svani. Let's just back this one up so we can play through the opening. We got Hikaru with the knight f3, d5, and the e3. Let's go. Shout out E3 poison repertoire. Knight of 6, B3. I quite like this one a bit as well. Hikaru is certainly a specialist here. And yeah, so he looks to get a bit of a edge in the center against Svani. So E4, E5, takes here, Queen E2, and this is what's just happened. We have this position here. Very interesting middle game. I mean, optically feels like white is a little bit better because black's c-pawn is weak and on an open file. And now takes, knight on e7 is hanging. So knight comes to f5, white's bishop on b2 is now opened up. Feels very, very pleasant for white, just kind of a long-term advantage. This bishop is super strong. I think he's going to go just rook d1, just hold on to the pawn. And then rook c1 as well. Should be inserted too pretty soon, and it's tough for black. It's hard to go f6 without weakening the e-pawn. You would really love to get f6, e5 in, like if it was some kind of endgame, but yeah, that's hard to achieve. So definitely feels like comfortable situation here for Hikaru. 40 seconds extra on the clock as well. So Svani choosing which rook to put where. He goes rook a d8. So he's not even pretending to try to hold on to the c-pawn. And now queen e5, hitting this one. I'm sure Hikaru will snag that given the chance, but also introducing, just some g4 ideas. If given a chance, just g4 wins the game. f6, queen takes e6 check, right, and the knight then it hangs. So g4 actually is a very, very annoying move. Yeah, black has to deal with that. So queen f3. Queen f3. And now what to do? The rook on d1 feeling a little vulnerable. You can't do anything. So rook d2, Hikaru just immediately fixes that issue. Rook c1 coming next, maybe rook c3. And yeah, let's keep an eye on the Magnus game as well. Oh, Bortnick down to 3 seconds against 2 minutes for Carlsen. But hold on, what? White's rook here is trapped. The problem is that the other rook has enough room to just get in and really just ruin Black's life on the king side here. And yeah, I think Magnus is going to be able to take this one down. Yeah, and eventually that's it. The rook breaks free. Game over. So perfect 7 out of 7 for a food poison Carlsen, showing some great blitz form right now. Back to Hikaru. Let's go back a couple moves here. Looks like we did see bishop takes e5, so white won this pawn. Trades queens. Now looking to convert this endgame. Black could never take this d pawn because then the knight would have just been pinned and lost with rook d4. Got to get to the live game. Svane has almost no time here. And a5 now. Hikaru just looking to win on the queen side. Bishop c5. This is deadly, trading off the rooks. And now, yeah, the a pawn just wins the game. And a skewer to finish things off. So Hikaru moving to 6 out of 7. Let's quickly jump to Kramnik. Ooh, going for the attack against Serrana. Look at this. Look at these pawns. Go, Vladdy, go. Uh-oh, queen d7. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, this one is hanging, guys. How do we defend that? Wait, did I see that correctly? I feel like Eval Bar was kind of on white side, and then it just totally went down. And yeah, this is a problem for Big Vlad. This is a really big problem. Now g4 falls, and Serrana taking over on the king side. This knight is going to land on f5, and oof, this is a very, very strong construction here for Black. Also, Serrana is just up a piece. So yeah, I don't think Kramnik actually had any chances going into this position when we joined. But he's trying. He's on seconds. But Black's pieces here are too strong, and Serrana should be able to convert this. He's got his own counterplay with the e-pawn here. Yeah, I think you just make a queen and... Oh, bishop e6. All right, the last hope. But no, it's just not enough. Black has too much material, and Serrana picking up a very big win there. Still lots of games happening. Let's see. We got Durabaili against Turazaga. Two very, very strong players. And what's happening here? Looks like extra piece and rook for knight, and that's it. That's it. Still lots of games left. Okay, we have Benjamin Bach, commentator from Qualifier #1, playing against Sam Chessmood, strong grandmaster from Armenia, and opposite color bishops in the endgame. Not a lot of chances here I'm seeing for white. Despite the extra pawn, there's just no way to create any kind of second threat in the position. You can attack one of Black's pawns with the king, Black will defend it. You can attack another pawn, Black will defend it. So it's really, really hard to break through here. You need a second weakness, right? If white can make some passed pawn somewhere, that would be, you know what, actually he should have played b4. I mean, I don't know, it's probably nothing, but when the king was on g5, you go b4. Black takes on passant, you run the a pawn. If they take with the bishop, or you can't take with the bishop, but they take on passant, you run the a pawn, and then okay, you got the a pawn, but it still probably would have been a draw anyway. But Benjamin, he's still pushing. He's no stranger to just playing like super, super long endgames, right? He's happy to just milk this for 100 moves if he can find some way to break through, and that's it. The 50 move rule is the only thing. He would have played that for 100 moves, guys. 250 moves, 500 moves, 1,000 moves. He was ready to just play that position all. Just keep walking around. Just take the opponent out. Oh, here we go. All right, let's see. Can Black win this? Eval Bar calling this a draw. That's a bit weird. No, let's allow it to update. Oh, it was a draw. Oh, by the 50 move rule. Oh, no. Oh, no. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. YouTube the bishop and knight endgame. It's very easy. All right. Round 8. Here we go, folks. Of course, a3, h6 pre-moved. How did he know? How did he know, guys? What? Hikaru goes a3, Magnus h6 pre-moved. Insane. How did these guys are just on a different level. Now he's taking his time. Maybe that's why he pre-moved h6, because he knew he he's thinking knight of 6. Wow. All right, dream matchup here. Hikaru against Magnus. Hikaru though 1 point behind, and Magnus, wow, just going full troll here. e5, knight h7. It's like the Alekhine, which is already a bit dodgy, not good enough for Magnus here. But now I think he's going to start playing for real. You know what? He's going to get the knight to g5. Actually, this will have some point to this in the future. He's just going to, I have a feeling, folks, he's just going to make it work. He's just going to make it work. Everything, and any opening Magnus touches, it always somehow it works out. Okay, bishop g4 castles. Takes. 97. Feels like very comfortable position for Hikaru though. Rook to e1. All the pieces come out. You have kind of a nice space advantage with this e-pawn, but yeah, you give black a couple moves. This knight comes out to g5. Magnus has kind of played, let's say, kind of French Caro and solved the problem of the light squared bishop. So there is some method to this madness. So queen e2 on the board, allowing bishop takes f3, and then possibly taking the e-pawn. What does Hikaru want on bishop takes f3? Okay, Magnus doesn't bite. He just goes e6. Was Hikaru really going to play gf? Okay, knight g5. There comes the knight, harassing white on this pin. Knight d2, just supporting. Now queen c7. Oh, Magnus looking to castle queenside, I think. That's kind of the most dynamic way to play this, I would imagine. But h3, putting the question to the bishop. Magnus does trade. And now, if he takes on e5 here, that looks extremely risky. Queen to g3, bishop f4 comes. I don't think you can take on e5 here. And if you castle queenside, f7 is hanging. What to do? Maybe just bishop e7 and castles. He does take bishop d6, hangs the g7 pawn. But Magnus, I guess, is seen further. He's just maybe going to castle there and go rook g8. Or even just throw in taking on d3 at some point. He can't do that right away. So queen takes g7. I think the plan is just castles. Oh boy. Magnus with the activity. And now he gets to take here. He goes queen e7. Offering the endgame, which would have allowed him to target the pawn. Bishop drops back to c7. Feels pretty comfortable for black. Rook to d5. Of course, eval bar likes it. But yeah, this d pawn is very easy to target. Now I'm expecting king to b8 probably. Then black can also use this h pawn, like some h5, h4. So yeah, kind of unpleasant for white. The bishop f4, looking to trade off the bishops. Still feels holdable. Rook can come to e3, for example. And Magnus just going full trade mode. He just wants the endgame. He does have 7 out of 7, so a draw here with black is not a bad result for Carlsen. But yeah, king b8 just kind of safe prophylactic move. a6, another one of these kind of safe moves. Magnus just making sure he doesn't give white an inch. And yeah, still feels a little more comfortable for black. Feels like white has a couple more weaknesses in the position. Queen to b6, but I think Hikaru is just kind of holding here back and forth. But king a7, avoiding the repetition, and now f3. Ooh, f3 indicates that Hikaru might be looking for something on the king side here, but he has to be very, very careful before he pushes. All right, queen f4, targeting f7. Magnus covers this one. Hikaru covers d3. And the time is ticking down. Basically, you're going into a bullet game. c5, resetting the 50 move rule once again. Of course, Hikaru did that a couple moves ago with f3. And taking a little bit more space. This is kind of Carlsen's like bread and butter position. He really likes grinding these out and just putting the maximum pressure, just trying to achieve as much as he can possibly get. Okay, rook d4, queen h7. Got to be careful. A lot of pawns hanging in black's camp too. So queen b6. Rook defends this one. Hikaru playing lightning speed here. Can black do anything? Magnus doesn't want rook d4 because I think he wants to be able to put the rook on f5 in order to be able to defend everything. Okay, rook d4. He plays now queen e5. Offering the trade once again, queen b6. Rook comes back, defending the h-pawn. And yeah, there's just no way to make progress here. Rook e3, and that's the draw by repetition. It wasn't like it wasn't like they totally repeated, but they found like a very circular way to make the draw here. But yeah, that looks like a fair result. I couldn't see a way for either player to really do much there. Oh, we got the battle of the Andreykas. Andrei Esipenko against Dmitry Andreykin. And yeah, personally, I'm very upset about Esipenko's choice of username because it's always confused me because it makes me think Andreykin and then it's not him. And now we see it in action, and this is the problem because which one's the real Andreykin? Well, I guess we're about to find out. And right now, black is saying that he's the real Andreykin with this b pawn. Queen a2. Yeah, this b pawn's really hard to deal with. Bishop on f6, very strong. Oh, a bishop h6 check. 2 seconds for Andreyka. He's trying to flag Andreykin, and he's the one that will be flagged. And let's see what else. We got more games coming up here. Another endgame. Jagalko looking to use the extra pawn. This one feels very drawish because black's extra pawn is easily blockaded, and it's hard for black to move with the king without. Oh, he tried to get him with the pre-move, but it didn't work. It didn't work. Makarian too fast. The problem for black is you can't really move with the king without hanging all your pawns, or as Grandmaster Jesse Cry would call them, your coconuts. You can't really leave all your coconuts hanging in the position. So yeah, I think we're just gonna see a draw here. Let's jump to Serrana. He is winning this one. And last couple games in the round here. Lazovic, very interesting endgame against Rasulov here. 2 bishops against the rook with the extra pawn. It feels like it should be winning, but of course you have to be extremely precise here with white. But you gotta get the pawn up, and you can't, of course you can't give up both the bishop and the pawn, right, for the rook. But yeah, he's made a ton of progress here. Now the bishops just have to get into position. I like this construction, defend the bishop. And now this bishop tries to get to h6. f6 is useful. Now the king maybe starts running around. And yeah, it's going to be very, very hard for black to hold off here. The rook is just kind of caught. But still, 5 seconds for Lazovic. Oh, but he got the 2 bishops in. And now he's lacking that final bit of coordination he needs to promote the pawn. It's very hard when you're on seconds. He doesn't want to push f7 too quickly, because then maybe you might lose the pawn to the rook, and that would be tragic. So he's swinging around. He's trying to maybe. Oh, I think he's got it now. I think he's got it. f7. Oh, f7, and he could have pushed. He had it. Okay, bishop c5. Oh, Lazovic missing all kinds of stuff now. That's not a good sign. All right, he finds the checkmate though. That's the end of round 8. What a tournament so far. All right, folks. Magnus still in the lead, 7.5 out of 8. Got Sorana and Andreikin with 7. And a couple players, Hikaru, Shimmerstream, V Pranav, Castor, all 6.5 out of 8. And looking to qualify. 6 more rounds left, folks. We're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back in a couple minutes and get the rest of the tournament underway. You're watching the Speed Chess Championship Qualifier number 2, brought to you by chess.com and Coinbase. And we'll be right back. See you all soon. Folks, we are back with round 8 of the 2023 Speed Chess Championship. Round 8 just finished. We're back with round 9. Games have started. This is the qualifier. And let's see what's happening. We have Shimanov against Hikaru. Let's see in the standings what's going on here. Wait, where's Magnus? No Magnus in the standings? Did he drop out? I mean, he is one of the players. I believe it was announced already that both he and Hikaru are going to be playing the Speed Chess Championship already. So he's not, I don't think, qualifying for anything. So maybe it was just time for him, rest up for tomorrow's World Cup action. Maybe just wanted to get some games in, and leave at the top, yeah? I mean, he's just want to get some good practice in. I don't blame him. I wouldn't blame him. Gets a 7.5 out of 8, clear first, and then, all right, that's good. Just wanted to play Hikaru once and yeah, but for everyone else, there's 8 qualifier spots on the line. So the way it's going to work, today we still have, there's going to be 14 rounds total. We're on to round 9. The top 4 in today's tournament are going to qualify for the so-called winner's bracket. The next 4, so places 5 through 8, are going to qualify for what is called the loser's bracket. And then the winners of those eventual brackets will both be seeded into the eventual Speed Chess Championship. So it's a little tricky, but we'll get into it tomorrow and it will all make sense then. For today, it's all about finishing into the top 8 places. Maybe top 9 if Hikaru finishes in the top 8, because Hikaru, I think, is already going to be qualified as well and might not need to qualify a second time. But for now, looks like he's in big trouble here against Alexander Shimanov, who has a great position, just tons of pressure on the queen side here. He just pushed b5, and knights on the king side are looking good. So this is looking very, very nice for white. Of course, Hikaru is extremely strong at defending such positions, but yeah, this is gonna be tough. Now, a5 would be kind of the first move that comes to mind to try to keep things close, but then I think white just goes b6 and then takes that pawn and puts the rook on the b file. So Hikaru takes, rook takes b5, and now knight b6. Oh, that must have been a blunder. He was expecting a b6, and then he took with the rook, and then a knight b6. Uh-oh, just lost the piece. So Hikaru there gives that one away. Shimanov now up to 7.5 out of 9, doing really well. Let's jump to another game. We have Andreykin against Sarana. Big matchup here. Both of these players on 7 points. And what is happening here? Was this a glitch? Did Andreykin try to castle and then the rook never made it? What happened here? How does this king on g1, rook on h1? Yeah, it's weird. The rook never made it to f1, but okay. I guess he has to play like this. Man, very tough position here. The bishop on f6, cutting the board in half, not letting black castle. And it has to be said, I mean, white has this extra exchange, but very hard to use this rook on h1. He's going to have to do some work to get it out. Queen e1. And Sarana here down to 30 seconds. But how to play the position? Rook c8, okay. Just improving the rook. What else? A lot of checkmates. As white, you just want to go rook d1, queen d2, queen d8, and checkmate. It's just checkmate. Just game over. But unfortunately, the problem with chess is that the opponent isn't going to allow this without a fight. So that's why you got to be sneaky about it. All right, so rook b4, but then the idea is going to be rook d4, queen d1, and then checkmate. Checkmate. So that's the plan. That's the plan. So Rana, he would rather flag than allow this checkmate. So this is a very nice move from Andreykin, this rook b4. Oh, rook c4. Okay, he's really being very crafty about his intentions here. The queen is allowed to come into d3. Maybe rook c3 now. Keep kicking the queen. Very tricky moment. You can also think about queen c3, but then that would allow queen to d1 check, king f2, and then the rook would hang. And then it's not clear if white has anything there. But Andreykin, he's going down as well, down to 20 seconds. This is going to be a furious time scramble. If white could just get the rook out from h1, he'd be totally winning. But it's not easy. Knight f4, now the knight's coming in. Rana posing a lot of problems. What to do? King f2? King f2 maybe? He plays it. He plays it, but oh, eval bar doesn't like that move. Shows how much I know. Queen e3. And oh, knight d3 check. Oh, he loses material. He's losing the rook. Knight takes c1 now is possible. It doesn't take it. 3 seconds for Rana. What is he doing? He's repeating? Wow, he just repeats. He just repeats. I mean, it looks like he was completely winning there. With takes, rook takes, and like bishop b5 check maybe. Yeah, this looks winning. Right? Because you're taking here with check and taking the rook. But I think he just makes the strategic draw there, keep his placing in the tournament. A bit of a miss, but he had 3 seconds. So really, really hard to blame these players when they don't play perfect chess with 3 seconds on their clock. Also remember, folks, they actually don't see this eval bar on the side. This is actually something that only we see. When you're playing, it's like you just see the board, and then you just have to make moves, and there's no indication if your moves are good or bad until the game is over, and then you have some idea if you played well or not. All right, so Billy Kimba here. This is Grandmaster Maxim Motlikov looking to convert his 2 extra pawns against Kramnik. He's going to put the rook behind the pawn at some point, maybe right now. Yeah, and then walk his king in. And right, white is cutting black off both ways, and this is just game over. The position is totally lost. Black is not going to be defending this one. All right, let's see who else we got. Pranav winning here. Let's see. Lazovic, the speed chess prodigy. He's got what appears to be a drawn opposite color bishop endgame. And yeah, I don't think anyone can really hope for much here. Let's see what else we got. Ooh, got some endgame. Queen and pawn against the rook. This is not looking good for white, unfortunately. Black's queen is pretty strong. All right, we're left with this game, and white managed to pick up a pawn here, but yeah, it's kind of a dead draw. Black could even give the bishop now, and it would be a draw. You could just hang the bishop because it's a stalemate. Just give the bishop. That'd be so funny. But no, he's just gonna pre-move, just be safe with it. But you could just give the bishop. I mean, it's draw's a draw. But yeah, it's funny. You could literally just pre-move back and forth, and you can't lose. You can't lose as long as white's bishop is on this diagonal. Oh, now he's tricky. Okay, very smart. Okay, Denlaz. See, Denlaz knows this is a 3,000 IQ play right here. He keeps the bishop away from the diagonal so that there's no stalemate. And now he's gonna at least try, but with the 1 second increment, there's no hope. There's no hope. He's going to keep pushing. He's got the extra pawn, but effectively there's little that can go wrong here for black other than a technical disaster. Yeah, Magnus, folks, looks like he withdrew from the tournament. I mean, he's already slated to play the Speed Chess Championship, so he's not really looking to qualify. So for whatever reason, he, I think, is out. I mean, it's 14 rounds, very long tournament, but yeah, still a lot left on the line. And honestly, it's kind of more interesting because now we can see who's actually going to be qualifying. Okay, round 10 underway. Let's see. Another number of high-level games here. Sarana playing against Pranav. Meyer against Motlikov. Hikaru Demchenko, another big matchup. And lots of big games here. Let's review the standings. So, Sarana, Shamanov, Andreikin, and Pranav all on 7.5 points. Also qualifying as of this moment would be Andrei Esipenko, Meyer, Sargsyan, and Modlikov with 7 out of 9. And then there's a bunch of players looking in with 6.5, including Hikaru, Bortnik, Dorbaili, and many other grandmasters. Okay. How about... See, this game, this is Shamanov against Andreikin, two of our leaders. And we also have Sarana playing against Pranav. Yeah, let's take a look at this game. This one is pretty interesting to me. This started off as a Queen's Gambit type of opening. And very early F3 from Sarana. This is kind of new age stuff. G4. Honestly, I would not recommend playing like this. Yeah, you kind of see it at like 800 elo and then 2800 elo, basically. It's like this kind of stuff. I wouldn't suggest it. I think White should just be playing like normal developing moves, fighting for the center. But okay, these grandmasters, they are taking on a lot of these new strategies where you just take a ton of space on the king side. And now, of course, it's very tricky for black to castle here because then you would just get completely wrecked with g5. So bishop g3. Neither side wanting to commit their king here. And king f2, just leaving the king in the center because White's f-pawn is going to be defending a lot. And wow, g5. I mean, Sarana playing this super weirdly. No, this was a blunder. This was a blunder. Queen c7, g5. He blundered the f4 knight here, folks. This is what happened here. This was an oopsie. He should have played knight e2 or some move, but yeah, this was not. I don't think it was intentional. Maybe it was. I mean, if it is, then this is like one of the most genius pawn sacrifices I've ever seen. I mean, because this is like 2 pawns, and I mean, just like, but he does have like the blockade. You know, he's got some practical potential here, and eval bar is like not that bad for White. I mean, 2 pawns down, and it's 0.3 for black, right? So that's quite an eval. I mean, White's got some ideas in the position. G6 is one. Of course, you got like knight takes e6 and bishop g6 check, but g6 is kind of the main move I would be looking at here. Okay, Sarana takes on e6, gives the check. The problem for this is that it allows black to strengthen the center even further. So White's position could just kind of run out of steam here. King f8, knight is coming to e7. And yeah, can Sarana get enough here for the pawns? It really doesn't feel like it. Yeah, the engine is very optimistic here, but Sarana is spending a lot of time. You know, it kind of shows. He's not exactly sure what to do, but he has this like, he's got this positional kind of advantage in that black's rook on h8 is kind of buried. And he can use this if White is able to get the rooks in to play. Rook c3, rook c7, and black isn't able to get the rook out. And effectively, it's like white is just up a rook in this kind of position. And that could be something to play for. So we'll see. Definitely some chances here, but Pranav is a very strong youngster from India, and he's he's no chump, right? So he's not gonna go down without a big fight. Okay, King E8. Allowing the rook maybe to join with rook F8. And now that black has fixed a rook, yeah, now it seems like white's position has really started to run out. He does have Queen A4. Queen A4 feels at least annoying. But I'm guessing like rook D8 and then... Okay, knight on D7 is defended and white's king is about to be opened up with HG. So this is looking really tough for white. He's just sitting like queen G3, but okay, black can go for the endgame. I mean, he's got multiple extra pawns here. Now D4, it's got to be totally winning for black. Okay, knight G6, another way. That's a nice move, hopping into F4. But knight H5, Serrana is so tricky. He's got, at least knight takes G7, but okay, if black wants, can trade off this knight to be super safe. But yeah, he needs to make sure not to blunder. Knight takes G7, knight takes E6. That would be pretty bad. What to do? He's not going for the simple knight F4 check. What other move does he have? Because white's rook is hitting a lot of stuff. Rook F7 maybe? Try to challenge the rook on the 7th rank. It does feel logical. Pranav going down to 30 seconds. What is he thinking about? Oh boy, he's really giving it all away. Pranav, make a move, buddy, make a move. Okay, knight F4 finally. Holy smokes! All right, so rook takes G7. Now rook G8 he can still block. So H5, not letting white open that up. But now white finally gets the rook to C1 and the counterplay is coming. Okay, D4, rook C7, get the second rook in. Holy smokes, what a sharp endgame. Now this is totally 3-result game. 5 seconds for each side. Okay, rook C5 hits the knight. You gotta make a move. Rook C7, 1 second, rook F7. Oh, but that's just a piece. If he took, it would have been takes and takes on D4. And oh no, that's game over. Serrana flips it around in the time scramble. Dang. What a game. Okay, we got to immediately jump here. Meyer against Modlikov. And both sides have their passed pawns. It feels like black's pawns are a little bit stronger, but can he convert? Rook takes E5. Hold on. Where's white's piece? Oh, he dropped the horse. He lost the horse, guys. Okay, extra horse for black should win it. And that's game over. Okay, oh, lots of big matchups still happening. Man, Makarian against Bortnik. Holy smokes, what is it, some kind of positional draw? Folks, we walked into a chapter of like Dvoretsky's endgame manual. Look at this. What is this? Amazing. All right, more matchups. Bach against Dreyev. Oh, but extra rook for Dreyev. He's got to win this. Knight F4. Rook comes down to the second rank. You just checkmate the guy. You just put the knight on F4. Okay, should be winning. Benjamin's trying. He's trying his hardest, but knight F4 should convert it. Yeah, there we go. Now rook comes down to the second rank and okay, should be able to win. And it's so hard, yeah. When you have 3 seconds, it's so tough. It's so tough to just. But okay, safety first. Knight H6, F5, beautiful. That's the Soviet technique we all know and love. Just no counterplay, taking everything. Bach is trying. He's hoping for just the final flag, but it's not going to happen. Dreyev, too fast, too experienced. He's going to win. And look at that, already built up a mass of time on the clock. Queen goes to the 7th, king comes in, and you set up the face-to-face checkmate. Queen a8. Queen a8, poetic. All right, folks, that's round 10 of 14. Round 11 starting very soon. Let's open up some games. We have Andreikin Hikaru. Ooh, we got to watch this. So right now, Sarana and Andreikin, first place, 8.5. Andrei Esipenko, Motlikov, tied for third with 8 points. And then we have 4 players with 7.5. So right now, the top eight players would qualify for tomorrow. And yeah, Andreikin here in very good position right now with 8.5 out of 10. 4 rounds to go. He's playing white against Hikaru. A win would be amazing, obviously, but a draw definitely keeps his spot very comfortable. So I don't think he's going to go crazy trying to win this one. And yeah, he's got the kind of safe advantage, right? A little bit more space. Nothing special, but it's a blitz game. And I think Hikaru, as usual, is going to try and win. Whoa. Knight g5. Knight g5 hangs, but so does the rook, the bishop on b7. So we get the trade. f4. Okay. Andreikin definitely playing for some advantage here. Love this f4, restricting black's e-pawn and allowing the bishop to draw back on f3 with some space. Okay, kind of a quiet position here. Let's go around the horn a bit. We also have Motlikov against Sarana. Wow, look at this position, folks. This is some kind of London system on steroids is what this looks like. I mean, both sides, castled queenside, and all of a sudden the position... Well, I don't blame them. I mean, white went g4, h4. Let's just back up through the opening a bit. And it wasn't to London. It wasn't to London. How about that? But somehow the bishop found its way to the promised land of the f4 square. And, okay, eventually we did get kind of this very sharp London type of structure, I got to say. So takes, knight e8, queen e2, knight c5, bishop c2, and now f6. Wow, super sharp position. Let's see here. So white's got the 2 bishops, but kind of a nice structure for black. How's Motlikov gonna try to put pressure here? Knight d4. f3. He's inching forward, takes control over this e4 square, but now black pushes e5. We get the trade of knights, and yeah, solid position for black. I think should be at least comfortable for white. You got this dark squared bishop and queen on this battery, and yeah, I feel like it's at least a little unpleasant for black facing this dark squared bishop. You know, you're never totally comfortable with this one. Okay, a5. How is Motlikov gonna proceed from here? Rook f1. Interesting. Indicating what? He wants to go f4, e4, and get the rook open up on the f-file. I was expecting some kind of doubling on the d-file, like a rook d2, rook hd1. You know, just put a little pressure, but rook f1 is creative, to say the least. Yeah, I wonder where he's going with this. Sarana, down to a minute. Whew, folks, it's a long tournament. We're on round 11 of 14. Normally, this would be the last round of Title Tuesday. Final round, money round, you know, everyone's putting all their energy into this last game. But no, they got to play 3 more games after this, which is going to decide the qualification spot. So queen d6, white's bishops start coming in. I think the eval bar had something to say, but we kind of missed the moment. Rook e7, and now some ideas on the d file. c4, bishop g3. If d4 ever, there's rook takes d4 ideas. Could be something. Malikov a bit better on the position. Some more time on the clock as well. Let's check in with Hikaru. Ooh, Andreykin up a pawn. This is a very interesting endgame. Can he convert this against Hikaru? Ooh, this is a critical moment right now. He's got a very nice bishop, 2 versus 1 on the queen side. b4 can come at any moment. And just pushing h4. Oh, knight takes b3. Is he playing for mate? Rook g8 and g4. Wow. So h5, Hikaru creating a square for the king, and now b4. So can't give this pawn up for white. Knight d3 going after the pawn again. Now what, maybe b5? b5 play, knight e5. Oh, and c5, Andreykin with the breakthrough. Oh, but knight g4, Hikaru going for activity. King to g1, sidestepping. These endgames are so delicate. It's like one wrong move, it's game over. I would put the bishop on c6. Lock it down. Okay, throws in a check. Don't forget about the bishop. 3 seconds for Andreykin. Andreykin move. All right, he's giving checks. King f8. Oh, he missed rook f7, folks. You saw the eval bar. He missed rook f7, trading everything off and then winning with the b pawn. The knight was not going to be able to stop it. Oh, but Hikaru managed to find the draw by repetition here. If the king goes up to h3, there's knight g4. He decides to play for the win. He's not risking anything. He still has the draw in his pocket. And uh-oh, king h3. Uh-oh. Yo. Yo, can white win this? He can put the bishop on g2. Oh, he's making the queen. Oh, Hikaru pushed too hard. He should have made the draw, but he tried to win. He tried to win. He's still trying to win. Well, at this point, all right. He's probably trying to hold. He's probably trying to hold. But oh man, can you hold it? Now that's the question. Can you hold it? I mean, now Andreykin, I mean, definitely he's going to try to win with the queen and the bishop. So, okay, gaining some time on the clock, but 100% he's going to keep pushing. Problem is it's only a 1 second increment, so you're not gaining that much time. And yeah, this is a problem. This checkmate is definitely a problem for white. So how do you break through? How do you break through? You got to find a way. Oh, he let the king out. Uh-oh. Well, now white's definitely getting out. Yeah, he let the king out with knight f2 check. Now bishop h3, he can take here. And this one's got to be winning. The queen is just way stronger than the rook. Yeah, g-pawn falls. Okay, rook d4. Only way to keep hanging on. We're going to see the technique here. But now with 2 versus 1, this is just totally over. You could even take the rook, but Andreykin, he's going to keep it clean. And just g4, bring the king in, and that's it. Oh, rook g3. No stalemate. No stalemate. There's still the g-pawn. There's still the g-pawn. Nice trick by Hikaru, but it did not work. Andreykin with a huge win there. Let's see, couple of games remaining. Uh-oh. Got a classic rook versus rook situation. Last game of the round. All right, boys. Come on. Giving the rest of the field a bit of a break as they play out their frustrations in this rook versus rook endgame. Gauss Ningalize, is this an that a Death Note avatar? Looks like a Death Note character. Okay, rook a3, rook g4. Yeah, the technique on this one is pretty interesting. Basically, you don't hang the rook and you're good. Okay, round 11 in the books. Round 12 underway. Let's open up some games. We have Andrakin Modlikov, Sarana Shamanov, Lazovic Pranov, all the top stars. Ooh, a couple of juniors here. I don't think we've seen too much of these guys. You can watch this game a bit as well. It's Andrei Sapenko against Jeffrey Zhang. Now remember, folks, top 8 are qualifying right now. That would mean the top 8 would be into the next day. In number 9, we have Enjal 28. Grandmaster from Armenia. That's Aram Hakobian. He's super strong. And Kramnik lurking in the 10th spot in the standings right now. 8 out of 11 points. Lurking in the field. Kramnik wants that Speed Chess Championship title. Okay, 95 here for Mesipenko. Hanging the D-pawn. Just totally hanging it. But, boy, what is... What does he have in mind? Knight takes d4, queen a4 check, maybe? And Jeffrey's thinking about it. He's like, why can't I just take this pawn exactly? Now, bishop d7, yeah, he decides to just develop. Don't blame him for that. But yeah, now white's going to need to keep developing here. Okay, bishop e3, a3. This all seems logical. Rook c8. Okay. And white is just very much building up around this isolated queen pawn. I'd expect moves like rook c1, rook d1. Oh, f4. Never mind. Never mind. f4. White is pushing with the f pawn. Bishop d2. Yeah, I feel like black is very solid here, though. I mean, he's got the d5 square, f5 square. He can go g6 somewhere, but hey, all of white's pieces are in the attack. When you have a nice position like this, you know, when all the pieces can be highlighted and they all look nice, I mean, that's a very good sign for the position. Look, I can highlight the g and h pawns as well, and yeah, all these pieces can participate in the attack. So this could get dangerous, but only 90 seconds. Holy moly. Not a lot of time to just come up with a bunch of fantastic chess moves without hanging anything. Really not a lot of time to do all that. King h1. Okay, so I don't think we're going to see g4 anytime soon. Unless, of course, white trades on d5 and then starts running the g-pawn. That honestly might happen. All right, let's see what else we got. We got Hakobian here playing against Kramnik. Now, these two are both fighting for qualification. They have 8 out of 11. It's a good score, but they're going to need some help with the tie breaks or in the final couple rounds if they want to get it in. So kind of a critical game here for both players. Queen a4 now. White putting pressure. He could take on d7, pull the old Morphy trick, and go bishop c6. But then queen d4. Ooh. The old world champion, huh? Tricky, tricky, tricky. Very tricky. He does take on d7. But then after queen d4, oh, maybe he can trade anyway and then go rook d1 or take here first, and yeah, should be fine for white, winning back the material at least. So we get this position, opposite color bishops, extra pawn for white. Okay, now 2 extra pawns. But black is hitting f2 and is going to be probably taking this one. I don't see a way for white to defend this pawn. So feels like black has great holding chances here. But of course, both players would really like a win. Okay, takes on f2, and yeah, still this extra pawn for white, but it's so hard to do anything with it with opposite color bishops here because the bishop can just dominate on the dark squares. It's going to be very hard to push the pawn. And so if you're not able to create any kind of threats against the enemy king, note that there's no checkmate here, just barely. It's very close. It's very close, but yeah, there's no mates. Then it feels like black is going to be holding this one. Okay, let's jump around. Wow, this position is feisty, to say the least. We got Lazovic against Pranav. What is happening here, man? Wild position. We have this knight out on a3, kind of in the middle of nowhere. White offers a rook trade. I was kind of expecting rook g2 and just a doubling of the g file on the g file, but white decides to trade off a pair of rooks. Ooh, and he pushes a4. So the knight was blockading this a pawn, but now white pushes, and it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 4, 5, 6 extra pawn for white. So trading feels like a good strat for Lazovic. Mate in 1 also feels like a good strat for him as well. And ooh, now yeah, white has a real squeeze here because you just have this pressure. Bishop h5. Ooh, he's just toying with him now. What a sick move, huh? What a sick move. Just cutting black's position into 2, not letting black move anything. If the rook moves away, the bishop comes to f7, and then there's queen g8. He wants to play bishop f7, queen g8, no matter what. Oh boy, this is sick. This is just gross. But I think bishop f7 now. Black can maybe go queen f8. Queen f8 might be defending, so queen g5. That doesn't feel like the best he could have done, but still big advantage for white here with the extra pawn dominant position. Notice he hasn't really pushed anything yet because he doesn't want to give black any targets. But yeah, we'll see what the conversion is. Bishop e2, rook c1. Okay, he's going full prophylaxis mode now. We're just trying to get the king in. Slowly improve everything, eventually use the extra material. Bishop is coming to g4. Yeah, still huge winning chances here for white. Especially with this bishop in the long term having so many targets once the rooks come off. But Pranav here fighting back with the knight, pushing hard. And Lazovic wanting to trade rooks. But hold on, knight c1, king e3. Black can't really trade pieces there. The rook was hanging, so rook h4, bishop c2, and ooh, now white is getting in. Rook f4. Oh wow, he just trades. Okay, he could have gone in rook g6, but decides to just go for the bishop and knight endgame. Already decided this is what he wants to do, and yeah, this should be very good for white. King is walking in now. And yeah, he should be able to win this. Very nice technique from Denis Lazovic here. I mean, really strong. He hasn't won yet, but I think he's going to. Yeah, I mean, look at this, just dominating the knight. Okay, wait, black is fighting. Black is fighting. He wants the blockade, but now white's gonna bring the king around. Principle of 2 weaknesses, guys. This is one weakness. You have to keep an eye on this pawn, and this is the second weakness. And that's it. Black just can't defend against everything that white can do in the position. Now bishop comes back to f1, and yeah, that's time to resign. Just a beautiful endgame there by Lazovic. Okay, still some more games left. Oh, two bishops versus knight. Sometimes this can be a win, folks. Sometimes this can be winning. But it's very hard to win. I think it's kind of easier to defend. Ooh, okay, yeah, you just don't hang the knight, try to take the bishop. Well, that makes our job easy. And that's going to be the end of round 12. Undraken, 10 out of 12. Clear first. Looks like he drew that game with Serrana, who's in second with 9.5. We have Esipenko, Shimanov, Modlikov, Torzaga, Hakobian, and Lazovic right now qualifying for day 2 of the second qualifier here. A lot of players still in contention though, and will be trying to get in last couple rounds. I think this is round 12, so if I am not mistaken and my math is right, we are going to have a break. We'll be back in a couple minutes, folks. Catch the end of the tournament, and yeah, we'll see how things play out. Should be very exciting finish. Top 8 spots on the line in the 2023 Speed Chess Championship. See you all after the jump. Folks, we are back. The 2023 Speed Chess Championship. We are well into round 13. Games are underway. Got a number of players trying to get to that top 8 spot. Andreykin already drawing his game. Looks like with Jacobian. So he's on 10.5 points, looking to secure his qualification. Here we have Serrano against Lazovic, battle of the youngsters. Looking to guarantee their top 8 spot as well. All right, let's see what's happening here. So Serrano, the extra half point in the tournament. He's feeling comfortable. A number of players on 9 points, including Lazovic. Again, they need that top 8 finish to qualify for tomorrow's knockout, which will then be the qualifier for the real Speed Chess Championship. Okay, knight b2, knight c4. We might be getting a repetition here. Feels like white should be better. And yeah, Serrano says no repetition. We're just going to keep the game going. Nothing fancy. White has extra time on the clock. 2 bishops, of course. Especially the dark squared bishop. Very, very strong piece. Now, yeah, I'm kind of liking this for white. Maybe rook d1. But how to proceed? Only 90 seconds for Serrano. You got to find a plan here. It feels like black is a very comfortable blockade. Maybe at a certain point you trade off the knights, right? Try to bring the knight to e3. Trade off this guy so your rooks can get in. g4, pushing on the king side, also makes a lot of sense. Now knight comes into b2. Watch out for knight d3 check. Don't blunder this exchange. Don't do it. Maybe rook b1. But knight d3 anyway is coming, and then the bishop can be taken. So maybe, knight f4. That's risky though. You run into g5 and stuff. Can white do here? Rook c3 covers it this way, but now knight comes back to a4. Black really fishing for a repetition here, and might get it. Or will Serrano keep it? He keeps it going. Let's go. I like this. Rook b3. Yeah. Well, why not? Why not? I mean, you have the better position. I guess you are low on time. That's why. That's why you don't want to flag. But Lazovic here, I mean, he's holding his own. h5. Man, what a what a delicate endgame here. White is pushing. Just bit by bit. Can he do anything here? Knight c3? No, d4. Can't hang the d pawn. I don't see it. Now 25 seconds. Ooh, he takes on c4, gives up the light squared bishop. That's a big decision, but now I feel like black should have very reasonable holding chances here, just because of the opposite color bishops in the position. It's going to give black a really easy play on the light squares. But still, maybe small edge for white. King is coming to e3 to defend the pawn. Knight to c3. Maybe he can try to squeeze out a little bit here. Let's see some other games going on. We have Dropstone DP. That's Grandmaster Paravian here. And oh, the pieces are flying off against Esipenko. But looks like white has emerged from the smoke with an extra elephant. And now the rook is coming in. Bishop back to f1. And white's rooks are pretty strong. Yeah, threatening the mate. Now threatening the double mates on the back rank. And now the rooks, they just pick up the pawn. So excellent technique here from Paravian. And he gets the dub. He's doing well. Let's see some more games coming down to the wire. Oh my god, who's getting mated here? Holy smokes, G5. G5 was mate. It took him a second, right? I didn't even see this move. G5 is mate on the board. Amazing. You can take the pawn, but then the king would still be in check, folks. The king would still be in check. Dang. Unlucky. All right, let's see here. Serrana, he's still trying to break through against Lazovic. Lots of games still going on. Hold on, we got Bogdan Deyak against Kamsky. And equal material, White has this outside passer, but nothing to really do. So they agree to a draw. Pranav Shamanov, another sharp endgame. Ooh. What is happening here? Oh man, knight takes f3, c5. White c-pawn looking very strong. Oh, now the rook takes on g7. Yeah, should be winning for white here. The rook is just way too active. He's going to collect the kingside pawns. And black's knight can't do everything. Can stop the c-pawn, but he can't defend the kingside. White's beautiful bishop anchored on d6 there. And, oh, bishop d4, or bishop e5. Nice finish. Winning material due to the pin. Okay, one more game left. Got Chess Queen against Mike Dan. This is, of course, Alexandra Kostenyuk. This one's going to end in a draw as we finish the penultimate round. So, folks, final round coming up. Let's check out the standings. I'll remind you guys that the top 8 from today are going to qualify for tomorrow's knockout bracket. Then, the top 2 from the brackets tomorrow will qualify for the eventual Speed Chess Championship. So, this final round is going to decide everything. So, let's see the standings. So, Serrana, he's in first, and he just agreed to a draw on board 1. And yeah, this is actually very logical from a strategic point of view, because this is all about just getting into tomorrow's qualifier. So he makes a draw with the Turazaga, which makes sense, because that effectively, I think, guarantees a top 8 finish for them. And very likely top 4 finish, it would appear. So top 4 are going to be getting into like the winner's bracket tomorrow. We'll explain everything tomorrow as well. The 5 through 8 finishers will be seeded into the quote-unquote loser's bracket, but the winners of each bracket will then be able to qualify for the SEC if they make it. So it's all about finishing in the top 8 here. Let's jump to another game. We have Andreikin against Paravian. They haven't agreed to a draw yet, but they have a very kind of drawish position. I wouldn't be surprised if this one ends in a draw. It definitely benefits Andreikin, who's doing quite well. He would get to 11 points and, yeah, basically guarantee top 4 finish. So Andreikin definitely trying to keep this one extremely solid. Let's see what other games we have. Ooh, we got Hikaru against Wonderful Time, our friend Min. And let's see, where are they in the standings? So they're a little bit behind. They're one of the many players with 9 points. So Hikaru, he I think is already going to be seeded into the SEC. But for Min, this is a must-win game for Wonderful Time if he wants to get into the top 8. And actually, hold on, he has 9.5 points. So if he draws this one, he does have some chances, but his tiebreaks don't look great. His tiebreaks really don't look good. So my feeling is he kind of has to win this one if he really wants to get in. Oh man, it's going to be hard to beat Hikaru though. The only thing that Wonderful Time kind of is going for him here is that Hikaru also wants to win. So that might give him some chances later on. This one looking a bit drawish. Let's see if we have any more exciting games going on. Ooh, this looks very complicated. So here we have Jeffrey Zhang against Malikov. And yeah, both of these guys are 9 points. So they really got to try to win if they have any chance of getting into the top 8. And very double-edged position here. Black is this kind of nice block hitting knight on d6. Lots of queenside counterplay. He just offered a pawn with a5. The idea, I think, is takes to go b4, which the eval bar does not like, but that's what the idea looks like to me. Maybe he wants to go bishop a6 as well, or even c4. It could be a lot of moves here for black. So a5. Also hangs the b pawn. So Jeffrey takes on b5. But on bishop a6, what is he going to do here? a4. No, bishop d3. Supports the knight this way. And is there any kind of c4? Why isn't c4 working? Takes, knight takes c8, looks like. So if c4 takes here and then takes here, and he's hitting the queen and winning a lot of material. So, bishop d3. Now what can black do? Because he also is threatening to just take on d6, and then the bishop on a6 is hanging. So he trades on b5, make sure he doesn't lose that bishop. Now could either take on b4 or can take on b5 as well. So it looks like things are okay for black, but he's going to have to find just the right way to kind of liquidate everything on the queen side. And actually, black is down a pawn, but he's not going to... Probably actually not going to give up this knight on d6. I think this knight is staying on d6. Oh, never mind. Well, he gets the pawn back, but has to give up the knight. I think that's a fair exchange. Takes. Could be a little better here for white. The rook on c7, knight comes to b3, f3 now, king starts walking in. Yeah, this is not easy for black. This b pawn is certainly vulnerable. Okay, that's an extra pawn. Some counterplay for black, but very, very clear extra pawn now for white, actually, looks like. So Jeffrey, he's going to be working hard to try to convert this. Oh, but knight f2 check. How to get out of these checks? King e2, knight g4, h3 now. Why not h3? Hit the knight. h3, h3. Let's go. Come on. h3, h3. Why is h3 not happening? Oh, h3, knight f2? Is knight f2 the problem? I don't think so. Just take. What's the issue? Not seeing it. But Jeffrey, he's calculating. He's taking his time. I mean, he's looking for other moves. d6, rook d6. He's clearly thinking about something else here. Okay, rook b6. Hits this one. And now rook e6. Oh, so first he latches onto this pawn. And now he wants to take this one. Okay. Well, now white's got the... h4. And white's still trying to push these pawns. But how do you do it? Sorry, folks, for the interruption. I think we're coming back now. Just had a blip in the internet. The technique was just too strong. You know, the Wi-Fi couldn't handle it. It was like, these moves are too good. Sometimes it happens. Yeah, sometimes it happens. Okay, rook g3, knight c4. Ooh, rook takes g2. Now black has two connected passers. Oh, man, battle of the passers. But who's going to be first? White's pawns are a little bit further advanced, but only by one tempo. Oh, boy. Oh, man, what a position. What a position. Rook e1, d6. Oh, d7. He's getting the pawn. And that's it. Oh, he won on time. Black flagged, but now it was over. The rook was coming in, and the pawns were too strong. So Jeffrey wins. He gets the 10 points. Let's see other games going on. Oh, we have Lazovic against Kramnik. He just hung the rook. He just hung the rook. Kramnik. On the unluckiest day for Kramnik. Man, he just hung the rook, and that's it. Lazovic gets the win there. Last game of the tournament. Let's see the standing. So the top 8, folks, once again, once the tie breaks come in, I don't think the tie breaks are updated before the end of the round. So once this last game finishes, they're going to update the tie breaks. And that means that Sarana, Andreikin, Shamanov, Iturizaga, and Paravian, they're definitely in. And the rest of the top 8 remains to be seen. Looks like we have Shevchenko, Sadwani, and Hikaru in the 8th spot. Now, Hikaru might not actually be playing tomorrow. He might just qualify directly into the SEC. So that means that that next spot would go to Enjal 28, aka Grandmaster Aram Hakobian. But we'll see. We'll find out tomorrow. I'll be back for the knockout portion of this qualifier, where we are going to take these top 8 and cut them down to 2 players that qualify into the eventual Speed Chess Championship later this year. We already have 2 qualifiers from the earlier event, Yu Yang Yi and Vidit Gujarati. They're already in. We're going to get 2 more tomorrow. It's going to be a blast, folks. That's going to do it for this stream. Tomorrow's stream is going to be starting at the same time, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And it's going to be a knockout portion with these top 8. It's going to be the same time control, some exciting chess, I'm sure. And yeah, should be fun. So hopefully we'll see you guys there. Folks, that's going to do it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream. I had a lot of fun. Some very, very man, the 14 rounds flew by. Was that 14 rounds? Honestly, felt like 7. Felt like a solid 7 rounds, I gotta say. They should up the tournament. They should make it 21 rounds, 28 rounds. Let's make it a real qualifier. All right, that's gonna do it, folks. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for tomorrow's show. Once again, same time on this channel. This was International Master Kostya Kavutskiy. I had a blast. If you guys have a chance to check out Chess Dojo Live, that's where I normally do my streaming these days on Twitch. Please do so. That'd be greatly appreciated. But that's going to do it for day 1 of the 2023 Speed Chess Championship qualifier, brought to you guys by chess.com and Coinbase. See you all tomorrow. Take care. All right. Hey, welcome everyone. Thanks for the raid. Chess.com. How's everyone doing? Welcome back. We're just on Dojo's channel now. We're just here on Dojo. How's everyone doing? Welcome, raiders. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the qualifier. It's going to be a little bit more relaxed now here on Dojo's channel. What's up, Olympiad? Hey, MD Knight. How's it going, folks? How's it going? Yeah, that was fun. That went by very fast. That went by super fast. I wonder if Jesse's out there. Maybe Jesse wants to stream. Jesse, if you wanted to stream, I didn't have anything special planned. If you're out there, but yeah, I'm just gonna. I wanted to play a bit. That's what I want to do. I want to get my. I wish I could have played in that event. That looks super fun. 14 rounds, 3+1. I want to get in there, start popping some kings. Yeah, Jesse's probably pumping iron at the gym. Man, I met Jesse, a couple weeks ago, U.S. Open, and whew, that dude is jacked. The man is. I mean, he clearly, practices what he preaches with the creatine and the working out, and yeah, very good shape, very good, tall too, tall, big dude, big. Big. Hey PJ, how's it going? Simul, maybe we did some simuls before on this channel. Think about doing a simul, folks. What I need to do right now is I need to kind of reset the stream, because we were streaming through this weird alternate dimension, and then using that to stream to chess.com and then the Dojo channel and YouTube. So I need to reset the stream so that I can just stream directly to our own channel. So give me a sec, folks. It's going to be a little bit of a break, so I would encourage you to maybe use the restroom, get a snack, get a drink, but we'll be back in a couple minutes. I'm going to reset the stream, probably play the music vid a couple times, and